Hello and welcome. As the title suggests, I will be diving into the info on Desert Crawler mob from Next Island in today's video. I went and hunted through 1142.43 ped on these creatures to find out what sort of stuff they drop on a regular basis and to see what sorts of rewards they provide for the first few ranks of the codex challenge. But first, let's go over some basic information on desert crawlers and the gear I used to hunt them. According to Entropia Wiki, these mobs start at 550 HP for youngs and go all the way up to 1.2k HP on stalkers. The location info on Entropia Wiki seems to be a little bit off, but close enough that you would likely find them in the general area. I personally found them to the north and northeast of Shatterrock Teleporter in the northwestern parts of Next Island. You can see the coordinates for this teleporter on your screen right now, and if I do not forget, I will also include them in the video description down below. Entropia Wiki lacks the numbers of damage they inflict and their damage types, and I lack the ability to properly test for it and provide you with those numbers. However, I was hunting them wearing mix of adjusted Masca and Ascension armor parts with some additional protection from Serpent's scale armor plates. Those are both beginner armors in terms of protection, and while most of you will be unable to get your hands on Ascension armor as the available pieces are limited in number, and I would guess that most owners are not looking to sell theirs, adjusted Masca is usually readily available on the auction, and so are many armors with higher protection and loads of different armor plates, including the Serpent's scales I was using. Anyway, wearing this armor and plate combo, I did not experience any difficulties hunting even the highest maturities of desert crawlers, although old alphas and prowlers could sometimes hit me for up to about 40 points of damage. I forgot to put the plates on two pieces of my armor though, so that might account for those occasional harder hits. Either way, as long as you have at least 150 HP, around level 28 to 30 evader and some semi-decent healing tool for emergencies, you should be fine hunting them even in unplated adjusted Masca. As far as a proper DPS for the weapon you will be using is concerned, that is up to you to decide. Whatever you think is appropriate for a mob with these sorts of HP. The spawn I was hunting them at has every maturity from young all the way to prowler. I do not think I ran into a stalker there, but maybe I just wasn't lucky enough to run into one on my hunt. As for the weapon, I was using EVE LC100 Frontier with Omegaton A104 amplifier, which according to Entropia Wiki website does 37.53 damage per second. There is some unedited footage in this video where you can see how long it took me to take down different maturities of desert crawlers using this weapon combo. Also, the rewards for the first 5 ranks of the codex challenge will be shown at different times throughout today's video. I will provide timestamps to those moments in the video description below for any of you that are interested in that bit of information. And now let's go over the loot I got from them. You may have a slightly different experience depending on how much ped you hunt through on them, but in general you should be able to reasonably farm the more common loot items and also get some low amounts of the stuff that was a bit less common for me. Anyway, let's start with the hunt size and TT return I got back. As I said earlier, I hunted through 1142.43 ped and my TT return was 1016.15 ped. That is a 126.15 ped loss, which hurts but is not all that bad when considered as a percentage of the hunt's cost. And of course the long-term TT return would be different anyway, as this was just a single hunt. I personally would expect the long-term return to be better, since I did not get any big loots on this hunt, only couple smaller globals and some minis below the value of a global. It is quite likely that some bigger multipliers would come if you kept grinding desert crawlers over longer periods of time. At least they do seem like a mob that has potential for decent hoffs. However, please do not quote me on that. Luteus is an asshole of epic proportions, and sometimes a mob that is good to one avatar will ruin another's pet card. Either way, let's go over the loot composition that I got on my hunt. I will not go into percentages of the total loot for a majority of items. However, I will go over what items were rather common and compared to what other items, and I might state a TT value of the stack I collected over my entire hunt, or the number of pieces of each particular item. That should give you good enough picture of what to expect if you need some of those items and consider farming them from desert crawlers. Anyway, let's start with everybody's favorite, the bane of all humans, shrapnel. Shrapnel made up about 40% of my total loot. However, this might vary quite a lot from avatar to avatar, depending on the damage per pack of each person's weapon combo. For example, someone hunting them with extremely low DPP would get most of the loot as shrapnel, while someone with exceptionally high DPP is likely to get even less shrapnel and more of the other stuff. When it comes to oils, I mostly got animal muscle oil, which made up about 270 ped of my loot, followed by thyroid oil at 86 ped and animal oil residue at 50 ped. I did get 8.8 ped of animal adrenal oil as well. So I guess these are alright if you want to farm some muscle oil and thyroid oil, but woefully inadequate if you are in need of large quantities of adrenal oil. For next island specific loot items, I looted fairly large quantities of citrine crystal at about 110 ped, which is more than 1.5k pieces. I also looted 37 pieces of chimera hides and 4 pieces of chimera heart. That seems rather low, so I would not suggest trying to farm those off of desert crawlers. At least not at this point, since I might have to revisit that thought once I do a decently sized hunt on chimeras themselves. But right now I would guess that chimeras should probably drop more chimera hides and hearts than desert crawlers. Either way, when it comes to paints, this mob sucks combibo farts. I looted 22 cans of purple, 5 cans of amber, 5 cans of violet cream and whopping 1 can of dark blue. Although they are somewhat alright for farming electronic stabilizing components and surface hardener components, as long as you do not mind looting only 40 to 50 pieces per roughly 1000 ped cycled. To be exact, I looted 49 and 42 pieces of those respectively. Desert crawlers can also drop high definition GUI, rationalizer and surface toughness components. However, I only looted 3 pieces of each over my entire hunt. Anyway, they also drop socket 3 and socket 2 components, but I only looted 47 and 8 pieces of those respectively. On rare occasion they also drop tier 2 components. When it comes to generic hides and wools, animal hides are the only ones dropping in any sort of appreciable quantities. I looted 819 pieces of these. However, they also drop small amounts of soft and fine hides, as well as wool and thin wool. I have not looted any fine wool on my hunt, but it is possible that they do drop it as well. However, considering the rarity of all these drops aside from animal hides, I perhaps just did not happen to loot any this time around. Either way, the last category of loot items on this list is extractors for crafting textures. The common ones are weak cloth, advanced leather and advanced wood extractors. I looted between 160 and 265 pieces of each of these, and the rarer drop was basic mineral extractor, of which I looted 59 pieces. Extractors conclude the loot portion of this video, as well as any useful info that you can glimpse here. I will just go on about random crap here in the conclusion before I bid you farewell and good luck. Anyway, my final thoughts on this mob for now are these. I do not see any particular reason to grind them beyond completing the 2000 snuffs for the Moloch Depths quest. Desert crawlers just do not seem to drop anything worthwhile, aside from citrine crystals if you happen to be in need of some and do not know any other mob that drops them. I guess I am sort of in this category. I do not need these crystals now, but if I ever do end up needing them, I know I can farm them fairly quickly from desert crawlers. Although I do like the design of this mob and love the way they fling their legs upward and to the side while they are running. They kind of remind me of some weird geckos or bearded dragons or something like that, and I find those cool and funny. So in my book that is a big plus for this mob, I guess. They also sit in that somewhat comfortable HP range, where they do not cost too much to hunt, but are not as tedious to cycle semi-decent amounts of pet on as smaller mobs. For example, I tried to turn over 1000 pet on small yellow papoose so that I could make a video on them, and I just gave up less than a third of the way through that. I will revisit yellow papoose sometime in the future, but I just do not have the mental fortitude to do it right now. Perhaps once this damned heat wave is over. On the other hand, it took me just few hours to cycle similar amount of ped on desert crawlers. So they are an alright choice if you happen to be on next island, want to cycle some ped but only have few hours a week to do it. Although I am sure there are way better choices out there if you actually want to loot stuff with proper markup while doing so. Anyway, that is all I wanted to share with you today. Thank you for watching. Please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel if you have not done so already. Thank you and good luck out there.